Now, I was involved in an accident last year, and the officers that arrived on the scene did not take a breathalyzing test, and they did not open a case of negligent driving. If I'm at a roadblock that is a canine search and I'm found with, say, marijuana, am I going to be apprehended? Now, there's this theory that expensive cars and really old cars get stopped at a roadblock. How true is this?
If you do find that officers stop mostly luxury cars, it is their discretion.
What would the South African version of Miranda rights be? Welcome to a special journey. I'm your host and resident K53 instructor Mthaux. Now, for this episode, we are going to be sitting down with a Metro Police official who will tell us more about A, road safety, B, your rights and responsibilities as a driver and as a passenger, as well as a pedestrian. Here to speak to us more about road safety during the festive season is Superintendent Xolani Fihla. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Before we jet off, right?
Okay.
So I think let's park.
Okay.
I do want to do a quick little something. How good are you with your road signs?
I should think I'm pretty good. I need to because we
Right.
enforce these things.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
No entry.
No entry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you. No unauthorized vehicles is the terminology I was looking for.
Okay.
What does this mean?
That it's no longer a highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dual carriageway specifically.
Okay.
And the last one. What does this mean?
Limited moving space.
I'll give it to you. This is single vehicle width.
Oh, okay. Nice one.
Okay, cool. So you've got it.
Yeah.
All right, we can jet off.
Okay.
Let me put my seatbelt on.
Yeah. We have to adhere to the rules of the road.
Right. So we're currently at a roadblock in Soweto.
Yes.
And this is part of Operation Buya Mthento Manje Namhlanje. What is considered normal procedure when you've been stopped at a roadblock?
Normal procedure, okay, we'll start from an officer's side.
Yeah.
When they do stop the motorist, then they should alert the motorist and tell them the reason why they've stopped them. It could be either a crime prevention roadblock, it could be a roadblock checking for outstanding traffic fines, or just a road check, roadside check, checking the fitness of the vehicle, checking driver fitness as well.
Okay.
And with that, then the officer has the right to ask for any type of documentation from the motorist, whether it's a driving license, whether it's a learner's license if you are a learner,
Right.
and also check the license disc of the vehicle, check the roadworthiness of the vehicle as well. And then if there is any discrepancies, then inform the motorist that they have noticed this, either give them a verbal warning or then a citation, which is a fine.
Right.
And then from a motorist perspective, of course, if you are stopped by an officer, you need to stop, you need to adhere to that. And once you have been stopped, you do have the right to ask for the officer's appointment card.
Okay.
To check that they are valid police officers.
Right.
And of course, then you also have the right to ask what's the reason of being stopped. And any other thing that you do find suspicious, whether it is the validity of the officer or the reason of being stopped.
Okay. Now, in America, when you are arrested, say they found something and now they're arresting you,
Okay.
they usually read you your Miranda rights.
Yes.
What would the South African version of Miranda rights be?
It is the same,
Okay.
basically, the right to remain silent.
Yes.
And then you do have the right to appoint your own legal representative if you are then being detained.
Okay.
And also the right to have a phone call to call anyone to assist you in that moment.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Are these translatable? Say I'm not an English speaker. Do we have to wait for a translator to come through and read me my rights before I am apprehended?
Not necessarily. Fortunately, our main medium language in South Africa is English. A lot of people do understand that. But in areas like the townships, then we have officers who are diverse in many languages, whether it is Xitsonga, Venda, Sizulu or Sesotho, then they'll explain to that motorist their rights in that language.
What is the difference in scope of powers between Metro Police and SAPS?
With the scope of powers, of course, with the Metro Police, our functions, for one, we have 3 major functions, which is crime prevention, which is the same as the SAPS, but then we also have bylaw enforcement, and then road traffic management and enforcement, and that's the traffic police side of our enforcement. And then when we do arrest a suspect, of course, we open a docket, it has to be at an SAPS police station, and then that suspect is then handed over to the SAPS for further investigation and for prosecution. And then from JMPD side, then we are done with that case. So we don't have police stations and we don't investigate criminal matters.
You mentioned earlier on there being different types of roadblocks, right? Will I know ahead of time or do I need to be informed what kind of roadblock I'm currently being stopped at?
You can be informed by an officer what kind of roadblock you have been stopped at, and there is, of course, differences between the kinds of roadblocks. We have a normal roadblock where we have numerous police officials will then be stopping vehicles for various purposes, either for crime prevention, either for traffic management or checking for outstanding traffic fines. And then we also have a roadside check, which is more of a mini roadblock where you have either 2 or 3 officers then pull off on the side of the road and stop vehicles for random searches and checks. But with the main roadblock, for us to conduct that, we need to have a letter that authorizes us, and it's called the 13-8, which is then we get that from the South African Police Services. So in the area where we are doing it, we need to apply with the station commander, who then, with the power invested to him by the National Commissioner, then gives approval for that. But with the roadside check, then officers can stop at the side of the road and pull off for any vehicles. But we have to ensure that we don't impede any traffic.
Is law enforcement allowed to do an interior check on any vehicle at random, or is a warrant needed?
Okay, for main roadblock, that's 13-8 roadblocks. We don't need necessary permission for us to be searching vehicles. An officer can then give an instruction to the motorist that at this roadblock we will be searching either the person or the vehicle. But with a roadside check, then you'd need either permission for the motorist or have reasonable suspicion that something unordinary is happening, and then that will lead you to then search the vehicle or the person.
Now there's this theory that expensive cars and really old cars get stopped at a roadblock. How true is this? And what informs the randomization of stopping a vehicle at a roadblock?
I'd say with stopping vehicles at a roadblock, that is definitely an officer's discretion. So we wouldn't say there is a quota or some type of mandate that you should be stopping those type of vehicles. Then if you do find that officers stop mostly luxury cars, it is their discretion. And I know in the Sandton area, that's where you'll find most of these vehicles.
Precisely.
In areas like Soweto, Alexandra, Deep Sloot, then you'll find the more unroadworthy vehicles, if I should say so. So then it'll also always depend on the officer's discretion. But you'd find that with the unroadworthy vehicles, that's where you find most problems. And that's why officers will then tend to stop more of those.
Got you. So what would make a car unroadworthy?
What would make a car unroadworthy is either having brakes which aren't working, lights which aren't working, or let's say a windscreen that is cracked and is fully obscuring the driver's vision. And in that type of aspect, the National Road Traffic Act then allows an officer to discontinue the vehicle. So if they do find 3 or more defects from a vehicle, like the ones that I did mention, or either smooth tires or excessive oil leaks within the engine compartment, the officer will then issue a discontinue notice. They'll take the license disc of the vehicle and then instruct the motorist to go fix their vehicle and go to licensing center in a specific time for them to then get their license disc back.
Now, when I'm driving, some of us, especially this festive, are going to be consuming things that are not alcohol. Still legal though.
Yes.
If I'm at a roadblock that is a canine search and I'm found with, say, marijuana, am I going to be apprehended?
That is a tricky one, and especially with the laws that we have in the country. I know constitutionally it does allow you to partake or cultivate within your own personal space.
Right.
But of course, before you can get to your personal space, you have to be moving from one area to another.
The next, yes.
So it'll also depend on the quantity that you do have and the interrogation that the officers will then ask you a couple of questions. So if they do see that, no, this is for sale, which is totally prohibited, then you might then be arrested for possession of illicit substances.
You mentioned that there are going to be outstanding fines, roadblocks, right? At those kinds of roadblocks, is it a must that I pay my outstanding fines?
With those kind of roadblocks, and I'll specifically say within the city of Johannesburg, we are using the ARTO system. And within the ARTO system, of course, you can't arrest a person for any outstanding traffic fines. And of course, if you can't arrest anyone for outstanding traffic fines, you can't force a person to then pay the traffic fines. But it is definitely advisable that you do pay for them. For one thing, it'll definitely keep your status clean. And secondly, with the ARTO system, then we have different levels of adjudication. It starts from then being issued the infringement notice, and then secondly, then it goes to a courtesy letter, and then thirdly, if you don't pay or then follow up on these fines, you get an enforcement order. And with an enforcement order, then your license disc and your driving license will then be blocked. And then if you try to renew those, then you won't be able to until you pay for those traffic fines. So it is then advisable for you to pay for those fines.
I want to move into the other counterparts of road usage, which would be pedestrians as well as passengers. On the pedestrian side of things, we've seen incidents being reported of pedestrians, losing their lives, getting injured on the roads as well. What would be part of safe practice of road use when it comes to pedestrians?
Definitely, and that is a very important aspect. We do find that most of our campaigns, and especially in the festive season, in the Easter time, we focus on motorists. But it is important for us to focus on pedestrians as well. Like we have seen that with the statistics, they show that we have more pedestrian fatalities than actual motorists. So it is important for us to be looking at that aspect as well. And with our enforcement, when we do enforce either at a roadblock, then we engage with the pedestrians as well to remind them about following the rules of the road, where to cross safely and where not to walk. But on a broader perspective, we have a community outreach unit within the JMPD who then goes out either to schools, to churches, places of entertainment, and the random areas like malls as well, just to remind our pedestrians on how to keep safe on the roads.
Are these road safety campaigns effective? Being that, each festive we encounter the same kind of problem, would you say they're effective, or is there opportunity to explore other ways?
I'd say they are effective to a certain degree. Even though Gauteng had a large number of fatalities, and especially of pedestrians on the road, we did see a slight decrease. So it means that people are heeding to the call. But of course, we have to move on with new methods and initiatives of engaging with the public.
Definitely.
Of course, the messages somehow become monotonous. That don't drink and walk, don't drink and drive. So we need to come up with other initiatives for us to attract the public with stronger messages. Messages like having either a celebrity. I know this has been done before by one of our partners, in fact, Diageo, through aware.org, where a celebrity then pretended to be involved in an accident while they were drinking and driving. It's like a shock message, but it is a reminder to people that anything can happen whilst you're engaging in those type of activities, and to stay away from them. Another one could be either having adverts of people in body bags. I know it's a bit tough, but it will send that message that one day it could be you in this body bag or a family member. So it's important for you to be adhering to these rules of the road.
Now, I want to talk about being a passenger, right? Sometimes, especially in Festive, the foot will be on the window, you know, a dumpy in hand. And because it's not the driver who's doing that, people would think that this is permissible. Is that safe for passengers to do?
It's definitely not safe for passengers to do. One of the rules of the road and the National Traffic Act, it does state that you shouldn't be putting out either your hands or any type of limbs outside of the vehicle while the vehicle is moving. And of course, if they are indulging in some type of alcohol beverage, we do have rules regarding drinking in public. I know that you might be in your own private space in a vehicle, but the vehicle is moving on a public road. So it is constituted as drinking in public, and you can't get arrested for that.
What is constituting a bribe? Is it just cash? If I were to offer you this banana right now, would I be bribing you?
Then it'll depend on what's the context of our engagement. If I had stopped you and I do see a transgression some way, somehow, and then you say, here's a banana, please let me go, that is constituted as a bribe. And for bribery to happen, then there has to be two parties, the briber and the bribee. So there has to be one person who consents and one person who then issues it out. So it is totally prohibited on both ends, either from the member of the public or from our officers as well.
So now, I was involved in an accident last year as a passenger, and a friend of mine was the driver. He saw cops trying to pull him over, and he fled. After fleeing, we crashed, and the officers that arrived on the scene did not take a breathalyzing test, and they did not open a case of negligent driving. It left me with a broken leg. So, till this day, there has been no justice for what had happened that night. I, as a passenger, have had no recourse because there's no case to say that there was some negligent driving. The ambulance report says there was no driver on the scene. So what do I have? And I can imagine this will be happening a lot this Festive, where the driver will take it into their own hands to try and ensure that they don't get the worst of ramifications. But as a passenger, if I see a bribe being paid, if I see a crime being covered up, what can I do?
And that's important, and especially any type of negligence on our officers' part. And no, I'm truly sorry for the accident that you had. What I could say is that it is important for people to report, because if you don't report, these type of actions will definitely continue. It's important, if you are a passenger or even a motorist, report any type of suspicious activities from our officers. And fortunately, within the JMPD, we have an internal affairs unit which investigates any type of misconduct or corruption by our officials. And if that information is then reported and brought forth to our internal affairs unit, then necessary action will be taken against those officers.
There's no time limit on this. I can still go and report.
Yes, there's no time limit. You can still go and report. If you have any information, whether the officer's details, if they had a name tag, the registration plate of the vehicle, the time and the date, and the location of the incident, that will definitely help for the investigations.
Do I go to the police station for that as well?
You can come to the JMPD either by calling the anti-corruption hotline, which is 0800 203 712, or going directly to the Internal Affairs office, which is located at our depot in the Johannesburg CBD.
Have you identified any hotspots when it comes to irresponsible driving during this festive season?
I could say the whole city of Johannesburg is a hotspot, but definitely we do have areas where we have a lot of arrests.
Okay.
One of them is the Johannesburg inner city. Week in and week out, we have the highest arrests in that area. We know that every week we have over 100 motorists who are arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, and the area that tops is the Johannesburg inner city, and then secondly it is Soweto, and thirdly it's the Midrand area. So if you are within those areas, definitely you'll see JMPD roadblocks, and if you are under the influence of alcohol, unfortunately you'll be arrested if you're over the limit. Yeah.
Who taught you how to drive?
Okay, partially me, but my brother as well.
Okay.
For me to be behind the steering wheel and show me which pedal should I be stepping on, which one shouldn't I be.
Yes.
How to balance a car before a person got in an automatic vehicle.
Right.
How to balance the clutch and the accelerator. So yeah, it was my brother initially.
Which would you say is the best taxi?
Base taxi.
Yes. Is it a Venture, Inyati, Quantum?
It has to be the Toyota Quantum.
Smallest amount of petrol you poured?
And that was before I was an officer. No, it was
okay.
It was 10 rand.
10 rand. Where were you going?
Well, I was in Sandton.
Oh my gosh.
With a couple of my friends who were attending an event that side, and then I was like, "Yo, I forgot my wallet at home." Like, I got 5 rand. I got 5 rand. 10 rand. Unfortunately,
I'm judging.
Don't judge. It was, and that's what I'm saying. It was before I was an officer, so I didn't know better. But fortunately, I was driving a City Golf.
Okay.
So it was able to take me from Sandton back to home.
Can passengers eat in your car?
In my car,
yes.
Personally, unfortunately, I've got 2 daughters.
Okay.
And of course, my wife as well.
Right.
And whatever I'd say to them, it will definitely be overruled. So, so they'd eat in the car, even though I don't like it.
Okay.
But I don't have a choice.
Are pedestrians allowed, or just normal people, citizens allowed in a police vehicle?
Without being arrested?
Without being arrested, yes. I'm just taking a drive.
It'll depend on the situation.
Okay.
Let's say with our community outreach unit, because they work with various stakeholders.
Right.
Whether it's NGOs, with schools. So depending on the program, let's say driving ECD learners from one point to another to have them feel how it's like being in a police vehicle.
Right.
That is definitely allowed. But in other instances, and especially with operational vehicles, it's not allowed unless if you are then assisting a person who's lost, taking them to the police station or taking them to the nearest transportation hub. But just as a joyride, no.
No. Okay. What's your favorite song to sing in the car?
Sheesh. Yeah. Okay, I'm a hip hop head.
Okay.
So a favorite would either be Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. Or
okay.
In South Africa, then it'll be either Aries or the late Pro Kid.
Thank you so much, Xolani. I think I've definitely learned a couple of things. I've also armed myself with information that I can use should I be, as a result of injustice that's happened to me as a passenger,
yes.
as a pedestrian,
mm-hmm.
or as a driver itself.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that you have a fantastic festive.
Thank you.
And that things go well with Operation Buya Mthaux Manje Namhlanje. Who comes up with these names?
It's our principals. This one specifically, it's the MMC.
Right.
He's always had an operation called Manje Namhlanje.
Yes.
And then previously we were doing Noma Kanjani, manje namhlanje.
Right.
But with the unfortunate passing of our former chief and MMC, Mr. David Dembe, then the MMC decided to then dedicate the operations to him, calling them Operation Mthaux, which was his tagline, the former chief, and also mixed in with manje namhlanje. So it's Mthaux manje namhlanje.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
You've driven me nice and safely. I can make it to my next destination.
No, thank you. No, it's a pleasure.